357 Magnum versus 10 millimeter versus 44 Magnum. And today what I want to do is a big game, dangerous game protection test. And what I have for ammunition is Buffalo Bore Hardcast. The 357 is a 180 grain. The 10 millimeter is a 220 grain, and the 44 Magnum is a 255 grain. Those are almost exactly the same sectional density, hardcast bullets. The only difference here is that Buffalo Bore happens to be a lower recoil, but it actually is within normal spec, normal range for energy, velocity, all of that, of typical 44 Magnum. That's why I kind of wanted to use that rather than use one of those ridiculously high-powered versions of that round. And to do this ballistic test, I'm going to do the normal Juggernaut box, but instead of my normal baloney pack, what I have is my Dangerous Game baloney pack. 2 packs of baloney. That's followed by 5/8 inch plywood. That's actually a lot tougher than just regular old boards. And we're covered with a piece of carpet. And this is some really thick carpet here with this type of stuff on the back. That's going to represent like some really tough skin and fur. Big old pack of this. And then we're going to go right through the Juggernaut box. And if I've done my math right here, this should represent roughly 30 inches of ballistic shell if we can get out the back of all of those jugs. And of course we're going to chronograph this ammunition, but one more test I want to do here, it's going to be kind of interesting. I want to do kind of like a practical simulation here, and what I have is these quote-unquote dangerous game targets. I don't know, I'm not going to be specific of what kind of animal this is. Let's just say it's a werewolf. There's a lot of different dangerous animals that you might want to be able to shoot from different range. So what this is going to simulate is the first target's at 25 yards, the next one's at 15, the next one's at 7 yards. So it's going to represent something that's kind of charging you. So I'm going to fire a shot at 25 yards, at 15 yards, and at 7 yards, and just kind of see if I can place those shots accurately in a kind of a charging simulation here. So enough talk, let's get started with the test. All right, first up, I'm just going to chronograph these rounds, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I'm going to get. I'm about 4 yards from the chronograph, 5 yards from the target. First up is going to be the 357 Magnum hardcast. 1433. 1385. 1388. No read. 1351. I don't think I got a read on that. I'll try to get another read. 1380, so pretty impressive velocity overall for a 180 grain, and actually the recoil wasn't that bad, so that's pretty interesting. Now let's move on to the 10 millimeter and see how that compares. All right, by the way, that 357 was rated at 1400 feet per second, so pretty good. Now this 220 grain 10 millimeter is rated at 1200 feet per second, so let's see how close we get to that. .1203. Actually had a feed jam on this. I'm using my stock spring on this Glock, so that might be why I might have to swap it out for the higher poundage. .1231. Same thing. I'm going to swap out the springs. All right, I put in my NDZ 22-pound spring. Let's see if that helps. 1232. I'm still having this issue for some reason. I don't know why that is. I'll keep going. 1238. Same thing. It's going to be hard to do this test because these numbers are going to be right, but this is a conversion, so it's hard to take this 100% at face value. 1223. 1228. So it's definitely issues. And the thing I'm noticing is it's just a flat tip on this, so it just doesn't want to feed through this conversion all that well. All right, 44 Magnum. It's rated at 1350 feet per second. We'll see what we get. No read. I pulled it. 1256. 1246. 1241. I don't think that read. 1243. 1267. So I know why they called it lower recoil, not low recoil, because that's not low recoil. Now let's hit the ballistic box with our dangerous animal ballistic target and see how all three of these compare to each other. All right, first up, 357 Magnum. Let's see what we get here. A lot of water everywhere. So here we are through the ballistic target here. It made a nice clean hole through it. Went right through our plywood, no problem. Let's see what we got in water jugs. All right, our first jug has a huge amount of damage. Actually a lot more than most 357 Magnum rounds, even without that big ballistic pack. Jug 2, same thing, huge amount of damage. Jug 3, we're splitting the top, it's still going through. Jug 4, we actually still split the top and the whole thing on 4. I usually don't see it that far in. All right, looks like we have a hole in jug 6. And there's definitely an exit out the back of jug 6, so that's comparison to at least 30 inches of ballistics gel. I don't see the bullet, so it's probably inside of that backstop there. I'll try to recover that when I'm done shooting all these rounds. All right, next up we have the 10 millimeter. Got a nice flat nose on this, so we'll see what this does. And I got another speed jam on this. It just does not like this pistol. All right, here's our ballistic pack. It just went right through it. And we went right through this plywood. Looks about the same as the 357 mag. So let's see what we got in water jugs. All right, first jug actually has a lot more damage than the 357. Split this whole thing out pretty good. Same story on jug 2 here. Jug 3 is completely empty. It split the side. Jug 4, we're splitting at the top. A little bit less damage than the 357 at jug 4. We went right through 5. And we went right through all 6. And again, I'll have to try to dig that out. It does look like there's a hole in that backstop. I think I have a pillow in there or something like that. So I'll be digging that out in a little bit. Let's see how the 44 mag compares. All right, 44 mag, I might want to check the backstop on the outside of it, see if it passed through rather than look through the jugs with this one. A lot of power. So let's see what we get here. All right, 44 Magnum. This is interesting. This is not quite like the other two because I hit it centered. Even though I hit it centered, it blew out the whole side of this and went right through the plywood. So let's see what we got in water jugs. All right, I looked at the backstop. I didn't see any exit holes. First jug this looks like a hollow point impact. It's pretty impressive. Same as jug 2. Wow, jug 3 though. Here's 2. It did the jug 3. That's really impressive. Jug 4. The way it looks like it's impacting, exiting, does look kind of like a tumble a little bit, and it did have that semi-wad cutter edge, which the other ones did not. We went through 5, we're drifting to the right. And we exited 6 at the very bottom. I'm gonna see if I can recover those bullets. I have recovered all the bullets. Interesting thing is the 44 penetrated the least. That's because I can just tell right looking at it, it tumbled. It was sitting right behind the first layer of garbage bag plastic. Inside that backstop, I had a blanket, just like a comforter from a bed. And laying on the front of the comforter, right on the other side of the plastic, was the 357. So the 357 and 44 penetrated about the same. The 10 millimeter went through about 3 layers of comforter. So the 10 millimeter actually penetrated the most. Pretty interesting. Now let's move on to the kind of a dangerous game exercise here. I'm going to be kind of limited with that 10 millimeter because it's not wanting to feed well in my particular pistol, but I'll do my best. All right, first up we have the 357 Magnum. I'm going to try to land 2 shots on each target, 25, 15, and 7, just to kind of see what they look like. So here we go. All right. Looks like I only fired 1 at the 7 yards, so I'll just go from the hip. Just see if I can hit it. You might not have time to aim if something's charging you. I think that would take care of it. Hit it right between the eyes. Let's try the 10 millimeter. All right, 10 millimeter. Admittedly, this isn't quite fair because this pistol is a conversion. It just doesn't like some ammo, but I'll do my best. It didn't feed around after that first one. Alright, I'm going to have to do something different to make this fair. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to fire 1 as fast as I can after I pull it up on target. So, 25. I'll do it over again. 25. 15. They actually fed it. Alright, 7. Alright, jammed up pretty bad here. Now it's time to try the 44. My 44 Magnum is probably going to be the most difficult, so I'll see what I can do. Alright, interesting. Alright, so I'm just going to go up and take a look at what I did here. I believe that was the 10 mil, 357, 44, a little bit low here. I know I hit the target on the 15-yard target with the 44 because I think I broke the stick. So it does look like no, I shot that once with the 44, twice with the 10, I believe, or once with the 10, yeah. My 357s are a little bit too, though, to the left. 25 yards. They are kind of scattered. I have some that are kind of just all over the place here. So one of them is to the head, but this is one of the most difficult things to do, just kind of pull it up and just try to fire as fast as you think you can. It's not super easy to do. All right, so my final thoughts comparing all these cartridges is the 10 millimeter, it did jam for me. Most people it won't, but it is something you do have to think about because semi-automatic pistols do jam from time to time, as where a properly maintained revolver pretty much never will. But judging from this test, if I had to look at like practical accuracy here and the amount of damage we got, I'd almost want to say that the 357 Magnum won this because it was just as capable as the others as far as penetration goes. Very capable round, very low recoil compared to the others. I would have no hesitation carrying it for something large. It's the right round for that. The 44 Magnum, a lot of recoil. It wasn't as high as, as high as 44 goes. It was about like target ammo, pretty much. 44 Magnum, where you're doing about 1,200 feet per second or so. It was about like that because you have a little bit less powder charge in lead rounds because it takes a little less powder to get them going. So you get more power than the typical 44, but about the same recoil as the typical 44. The 10 millimeter, that was actually a pretty good round. It won in penetration, and in a properly functioning pistol, or at least one that's going to function with that particular ammo, I think it would be an excellent round as well. So take it for what you see here. I personally think the 357 did the best, even though it had, you know, the least amount of power and all of that. But so that's what you get today. Buffalo Boar, kind of a dangerous game simulation. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.